Looking to start your own website? The first thing you need is a domain name, and the best place to get one is at GoDaddy.com. With your domain registration, you'll get hosting, a free blog, complete email, and much more. Plus, as a MuggleCast listener, enter code RON, that's RON when you check out, and get your .com domain name for just $7.49 a year. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com.
This is Professor McGonagall welcoming you all to MuggleCast, hoping you enjoyed. Dobby, come here. Here, Dobby.
Yes, well, I'd just like to say how very pleased I am to introduce MuggleCast to all of you. Thank you.
Because Ben's waiting for a cooler addition to the theme park, this is MuggleCast episode 191 for February the 4th, 2010.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 191 of MuggleCast. I'm here with Ben, Jamie, and Micah. Hello, boys.
Hey. It's an all-boys special today, isn't it?
This is an interesting group.
It's old school.
Yeah.
It is old school, yeah.
I feel like there's not going to be any balance. This has potential to get a little crazy, if you know what I'm saying.
It could yeah.
Usually we have a female anchor or someone less funny than all of us. So it sort of balances it out, but today it's going to be crazy.
Where's Laura when you need her?
Costa Rica.
We have a wonderful show. There's so much news lately, and we're going to start off our chapter-by-chapter series for Prisoner of Azkaban. And
wow, so it only
more.
took us like 5 years to get through 2 books chapter by chapter.
Well, we had significant breaks in between.
Didn't we start like 8 times as well?
We've done books 1, 2, and 7 right now. I think that's pretty good.
We can't count though. If
we'll be done by
the
the year like 2016.
And we're doing 3 chapters at a time now too. So
cool.
Yep. I'm Andrew Sims.
I'm Ben Shane.
I'm Jamie Lawrence.
And I'm Micah Tanaka.
Micah, like I said, there's been a lot of news. What's the latest from the news desk?
Wanted to start off talking about something that we all participated in. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. The Helping Haiti Heal campaign that was put together by the Harry Potter Alliance. And as of today, they've raised over $66,000 for Haiti, which is just amazing.
Isn't it more than that? Isn't it up to like
I think it's over 70.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I was looking on their website. They need to update their website.
I think it's well over 70,000. It's great. And that's, everybody knows, should know, we participated in the Helping Haiti Heal event. The first hour of it was MuggleCast. And if you want to listen to that episode, which we consider to be episode 190, you can download it. It's now available in the feed. The entire 4-hour event is in the feed. That includes MuggleCast, Hogwarts Radio, Pottercast, the Harry Potter Alliance's podcast. All the podcasts all combined into one. We did one big 4-hour bonanza. It was a lot of fun, and we raised a lot of money, which is excellent. So,
absolutely.
Yep.
Well, in other news, Total Film Magazine previewed Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, and it seems like we're getting more and more previews now as we get a little bit closer. Not really, but November will be here before we know it. And director David Yates called Part 1 a road film. This seems to be the common term used for it, saying that it was dynamic, adrenalized, and visceral. Yeah. It's a refugee story about 3 kids cut off from everything they know and everybody they love, being pursued relentlessly by people who want to murder them. So that sounds like a great kids movie, doesn't it?
But seriously, I've mentioned this on numerous shows now. This road movie title. We need to put a stop to this. I'm sick of it already, and we know the cast and crew. They're all road movie. Just don't know.
He went on to talk a little bit about the split, saying, "Do you break it with a moment of suspense or resolution?" So it doesn't seem like they have an answer yet as to where this movie is going to be split. I'm sure they have some ideas, but nothing concrete.
I think they're going to play around with it. Like, they're going to put the split somewhere, then sit and watch it and be like, how'd that feel? And, So I'm sure we'll get some interesting insight into that once they actually make their decision and officially announce it, if they even do announce it.
With part 2, they referred to it as a big opera, a great big epic with huge battles. And Ben's favorite actress said that she felt like she was on a different film, as this one doesn't have the structure that the previous films had.
Right.
So
what does he mean by opera?
Maybe there's going to be some singing.
What's this? Is it a Horcrux? But wait, is it just a ploy by Voldemort?
Wow.
Did you plan that?
No.
Yeah, he did.
I didn't.
He had that planned for like 2 weeks.
I just did it.
Sure.
But it should be interesting to see what they mean by opera. I get that is pretty high praise. I mean,
I think it's quite high praise, yeah.
Big epic opera.
It could be bigging
Huge
it up,
battles.
though. It could be bigging it up in the wrong way with, like, music, like, really opera-y music. That's not really a Harry Potter film.
Now, is there really a nude scene between Dan and Emma? Or is that
Yes.
Like, how nude are we talking?
Well, it's going to be when Ron has the vision of Harry
Well,
and
how many different nudes are there?
Hermione, kissing. And apparently, we don't know how nude exactly, for sure.
What do you mean that nude means nude? You can't have half nude.
Yes, you can.
You can have like nude from the waist up. That would be half nude.
No,
I
it wouldn't.
think-
That's like... Anyway, go on. We're just arguing semantics, so semantics is it.
I think Harry may be full nude. At least that's my hope. No, but if I were to guess, I would say he's gonna be full nude. I don't know. I think he's ready for this after Equus.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna put that in a Harry Potter movie.
Well, it's a little different. You know what I'm saying. But so I look forward to this opera.
Okay. But also, we talked about the split a little bit, and the screenwriter, Steve Klote, said that he thinks that it's going to be at a point that gives certain characters a good send-off, or a proper send-off. And the only thing I could think of would be Dobby and his death.
Yeah.
So who else do you have to give a proper send-off to, other than that?
Yeah, I think that's right. And we saw photos of them filming those scenes, and it looks very sad. But yet a proper send-off.
Proper send-off. That's quite a big promise to make. That must mean it's good. That must mean it's good. How can it not be?
They got to stop. This is where we all get fooled every year, every movie. We always hear this high praise, and then we actually see it, and oh, it wasn't a good send-off. Oh, it wasn't a road movie. Oh, it wasn't an opera.
Yeah.
What was it? Nonsense.
No, actually, here's
That
what
would
happens.
suck.
Everyone sees the movie and they're like, "Oh my god, that was the best thing I've ever seen."
Right.
Best movie of all time. And then like 20 minutes later, like, "Oh, actually, I mean, it was." Like,
It's not that good, yeah.
Yeah, once you come down from the high.
Avatar syndrome.
Yeah.
Well, the other big news that's been going on is related to the Wizarding World theme park, and fan sites, Harry Potter fan sites, got a chance to talk with Thierry Coop, who is I don't really know what his official title is, but he's like the head of creative
Vice
for
President of Creative
for Universal Orlando.
Creative what?
And
That's the coolest name ever.
Yeah, just creative. He's just creative.
so when he sat down with the fan sites, he specifically talked about Ollivander's shop and a little bit else about the theme park as a whole. But this was all in relation to last week. Warner Brothers released an official press release for the shop, and I think this was the same day that USA Today did their whole hold your newspaper up to your webcam, and if you're on the website,
Yeah.
it shows the theme park in sort of a 3D feature.
the augmented reality. I heard it stunk. Like it
Really?
hardly worked. Yeah. Oh well, they tried. I mean, but it didn't show anything new either. So.
Well, it's amazing the amount of detail, though. One of the things that Thierry talked about was just the authenticity of how this park and all the work that's gone in with respect to having J.K. Rowling involved, having Stuart Craig involved, having a lot of the set and the set crew involved in bringing actual authentic items into the park, and if they couldn't use the ones from Leavesden Studios, how they were going to use ones, replicate them. So just a tremendous amount of detail that's going into this park. And with Ollivanders, the cool thing that I thought about this was that if you don't get the right wand for you, because this whole experience of going through and the wand choosing the wizard, there's these mishaps that occur in the actual store. So you have like lightning and thunder that occur in the store if the wand isn't right for you, and if the one is right for you, there's a lot of other things that go on.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. So I mean, it's really gonna replicate that scene in the movie where Harry goes and on the wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter. It's not clear why. Yeah, that should be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. And then you have the choice of buying it for $59.99.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's part of the experience. And if you don't have to buy it, the experience is free.
Right. You don't have to buy the wand, but obviously they're going to set it up so like you really want to buy that wand.
And so children say, "Mom,
Oh yeah,
Mom."
they're doing all the tricks, putting all the pressure on you to get the wand.
Yeah. Now you can choose to buy this wand for the price of $59.99.
Yeah.
By the way, we
That's
don't
not
know the
real
actual price.
Yeah.
It may be though.
And one of the things,
So it could be a lot less than that.
Yeah. One of the things he said they're working on is to get the wand to work in other parts of Hogsmeade Village.
Oh, that would be
that's cool.
insane. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So like you can go into different stores and maybe activate stuff when you flourish your wand.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
This could be dangerous.
Very, very cool.
Kids running around smacking their friends with the wands, poking them.
Yeah. But this is a very involved process, though, he said. It's going to be exactly like the movie. The wand keeper is going to ask you questions, and you have to give specific answers in order to determine what wand is right for you.
Cool.
And, very authentic experience. He joked about driving around the Ford Anglia, because I guess they brought it over from Leavesden. So he was driving it around Orlando.
What a show off.
Yeah, I know. And he said he had a bunch of like mothers and children chasing after him.
Wait, he was really driving it?
He was driving it, yeah.
No. They build those so they actually work?
I guess so.
That's wild.
I don't know. Maybe he was showing off.
I think he was probably kidding.
I don't know.
think
He went
kidding.
into pretty big detail on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you guys like theme parks in general?
Yes.
But you
mean,
guys live
But
next
is
to
this
one.
nothing more than like a ploy? You know what I mean? To be like, oh,
What's a ploy?
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, are they really building a theme park for like, oh, we want you to have the real authentic?
Yeah, but Ben,
Hogwarts
everything in
experience?
this world is like that. It's not like like
Well, the world's a cruel place, Jamie.
it is a cruel place. It is cruel, but oil companies don't be nice to us and give us the nice oil so we can heat our homes. They give it to us because it makes them loads of money.
Ben, are you not excited for the park?
No, but oil has an actual use. is
So
what I'm
does theme
saying.
parks.
Are you
It
not
creates
excited for the park?
happiness in children, and I think that's a very important cause.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. It's turned into I'm anti-happiness for children.
Are you not excited for the park?
I would say I'm relatively excited. I mean, I'm not like jumping out of my chair to go see it or anything.
Is there
because-
any one thing that you think they could add that would make you excited, or is it just because it's a theme park that you're not excited?
It's not because it's a theme park. Like I just feel like part of the magic was like Hogwarts was this world I created inside my head, and the movies have already deadened that to a certain extent. I have a hard time breaking free of the box that the movies put me in, and I feel like the Wizarding World is just a further extension of
do you
that,
actually
and
feel
it
that?
deadens the imagination.
Ben,
and I don't think this is fair. I don't think it's fair.
I'm looking into his eyes right now, Jamie. He's tearing up a bit. I think he's pretty serious.
That was quite an in-depth thing. I think I've created this world in my head, and that was quite emotional.
No, I think Ben's serious, and I think he brings up a good point.
No, it's a great point.
I mean, to be honest, like I'm not much of a theme park kind of person,
right?
And like like to me, the idea of like going into a mock Ollivander shop and standing there and having them be like, "Ooh, this wand is yours," whatever. Like they're just trying to sell you a product.
All right. So what else is going on, Micah?
Micah, what else, dude?
Well, just the final piece to this interview that we had was somebody asked if there was any sort of expansion that was going to be planned for the park. There's all this kind of happy areas, with Hogsmeade and Hogwarts, but was there any plan for, kind of the more evil side of the series with Nocturne Alley and Azkaban? And they said that there's nothing as of right now, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be in the works sometime in the future.
Now, if there was like a field you could go to like torture mudblood, that's like my kind of theme park.
But first you have to buy your wand from Ollivanders.
Yeah,
damn,
and then torture them with it.
Yeah, I bet they will eventually expand this park.
Yeah,
Universal's got a lot of land down there. They obviously, expanding the park would bring everyone back to the park again. I think it would be well worth their money. And I'm sure they're going to see Harry Potter. This Wizarding World is a big success. So.
Okay. Over under 30% of people will be dressed up going to Wizarding World.
Under. Oh, no, actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, under.
Opening week, I would say over.
Maybe. However, I was going to say, when you take into account parents, I bet it's going to be under. Yeah, all the children will be, but if you think on average, each person will have 2 parents with them.
Yeah.
Unless there's a family that has multiple kids.
True.
Each have 2.
Or if they have 3
parents.
Although
they may not allow people to dress up and go into the park. Or they may not allow people,
that would isn't that just like destroying the spirit of the Hogwarts?
Why would you want to do that?
It kind of is. Well, because they don't want them to be confused with the people working in the park who are actually dressed up too.
Yeah, but one's going to be like a 22-year-old guy and one's going to be a 5-year-old kid. They aren't going to be working there.
Yeah, fair enough. But, we know our own Eric Skull, he likes to walk around in a cloak, and he's 22.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
He walks around New York City with a cloak.
But he looks like he's 15, so it's okay.
All right, what else, Micah?
So, there's been some construction photos of the Wizarding World. It looks like things are coming together. And
I hope so. They're opening up soon.
Yeah, speaking of them opening up, actually today, the day we're recording, NBC's Today Show is doing a competition to offer one lucky class the opportunity to go to the grand opening of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And Andrew, you said the details give a little bit more insight into when the park might be opening.
Yeah, the contest, they're going to pick the winners at the end of April, or that's when the judging is going to go on to select the class who's going to win this trip.
Are you a judge?
No. I don't know who. It's probably like Al Roker or something. And then there has to be a 25-day, they have to book the trip 25 days in advance. Now, the whole point of this contest is to go down there on opening week. So, if the judging is happening end of April, then there's a 25-day advance booking, it's 25 days advance booking. So we're looking at, I would think, an opening in late May, early June, maybe mid-June.
That's quite exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now, when is Infinitus?
July.
Now, Andrew, are we doing a live MuggleCast at Infinitus?
Don't know yet, Ben. Get back to you on that as soon as I find out.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. So that's that. Very exciting. I wish I was in a maybe no, it has to be like elementary classes.
No, I think it's 5 years old through 17 or 18.
Take philosophy class. Let's get together and win this contest.
Yeah.
What are you talking
I think you get told where to shove it, yeah.
What, you don't want to go to Wizarding World? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Ben,
what happened to the child inside, man? What happened to the child inside you?
I'll bring you along so you can jump up in the back of the class and say that's a great idea.
Yay, Andy.
All right. Well, this next story, I kind of feel the way about, kind of how Ben felt about the theme park. And the Hollywood Reporter Heat Vision blog reported, I think it was almost 2 weeks ago now, that Warner Brothers will release both parts of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows in 3D. And this was later confirmed, I think, just yesterday. What do you guys think about this?
I think 3D movies like make me nauseous. So
just like a roller coaster,
really
right?
Care.
Well,
yeah, but what type of 3D is it? Is it just a red-blue split, or is it Avatar 3D?
I really doubt. I really doubt
Avatar.
there's going to be. I doubt the whole thing's going to be in 3D. There's going to be like 3 scenes.
No. This is the whole thing.
The whole thing, really.
Yeah. Yes.
Then it's like 2 seconds at the end and 2 seconds at the beginning.
No, they said
and then
parts.
half a second in between.
Put on your glasses. Take off your glasses. Put it back on. Take them
I
off.
hate wearing those glasses too. I just feel like a tool just sitting there in the theater with those glasses. I don't care what
and they're
everybody else is
uncomfortable
wearing.
as well.
Well, okay, here's Jamie's right. I think Jamie said this, or Ben said this. You get dizzy after watching this for a while. I came out of Avatar spinning. I almost didn't want to drive because, like, I felt under the influence. I just didn't feel right.
Yeah, dude, I heard about a bunch of wrecks happening on the highway because of people driving under the.
No, but
Avatar.
really, you do feel dizzy after watching a 3.5 or however a 2 hour 40-minute movie, and Deathly Hallows is going to be hopefully about the same length. So, I don't know. Like, okay, obviously WB looks at Avatar and says, wow, the #1 top-grossing movie of all time, or soon to be at least. How do we, make that kind of money? Oh, let's put Harry Potter in 3D. I think that's their logic. WB is clearly all about the money. They do whatever they can to make more money, as we saw by pushing Half-Blood Prince back 7 months or whatever it was. So... And 3D is in this year. It's like, this is the thing. It's the cool thing to talk about.
Yeah, and it's going to get bigger.
Yeah. And they're converting the film to 3D, Jamie, so I assume that means it'll be like a red-blue split kind of thing.
Oh, no, that means it won't be proper 3D then. Like,
yeah.
The whole thing about Avatar, that's going to be rubbish then. That's not... Oh, that's a shame.
It
costs
about $5 million a film to convert.
Well, that isn't anything out of their budget. That's like...
Oh, yeah.
25th of their budget or something.
And apparently they make a good amount of money off the glasses.
That's ridiculous.
Now, if they're smart, they'll make the glasses, the 3D glasses, Harry's glasses. I think that would be cool.
Yeah. Oh, that would be incredible.
And they'll give out little lightning bolt tattoo stars
to
put on your forehead, too.
Yeah. Maybe MuggleNet should manufacture 3D Harry Potter glasses.
That would be incredible. That would be so
we'll just
cool.
go to our warehouse.
Our 3D glasses warehouse. But it is important to note that it'll also be available in 2D, so you don't have to see it in 3D.
But if you really want to waste your money,
I don't think I would.
I think I will.
If we do a quick poll,
Really?
how many people are going to go see it in 3D?
I will.
I won't.
I mean, Andrew will probably drive me along.
I might do afterwards.
Ben, I'll trick you into it. I'll tell you it's the 2D, and then at the last minute I'll shove the
Whip
glasses
out
on
the glasses.
Yeah.
And be like, yay, surprise.
You'll be like, no!
Straight from the MuggleNet warehouse.
The final piece of news is that Warner Brothers is set to purchase Leavesden Studios for both production and tourism. So it seems like WB's means of collecting revenue is endless on this series.
But it's a good idea. Leavesden Studios is where they filmed all the Harry Potter films, Sorcerer's Stone through Deathly Hallows, and they're gonna, it's a huge production studio now. I mean, they've been filming there for what, 10 years?
Yeah, but how popular is it for other companies apart from them? Because are they gonna completely monopolize that, some type of film producing thing if they buy it? It seems quite a big thing to buy a studios. I mean, how many studios are owned by movie companies?
I think the interesting thing with Leavesden is that it originally wasn't a studio, and WB sort of converted it to a studio. Or maybe not WB, but Heyman's production company. So, they're buying it, and I think rightfully so, and it'll be a great tourist attraction. I mean, they said one of the things you'll be able to see when you go in there is the Great Hall. And I mean, that is an iconic set. That is the one set you walk on and you really feel like you're in Hogwarts. I don't think the theme park will be able to replicate that. I don't think any part of that exhibit could replicate that. I mean, that is authentic Hogwarts.
Hey, Heyday Productions owns Leavesden right now?
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick. I'm not sure.
Well, Andrew, you've been there. I mean,
right.
How far is it from, say, the heart of London? Is it an ideal spot to have a tourist attraction?
It's about half hour, 45 minutes. But, there are these Harry Potter bus tours that go around the places that are used for filming Harry Potter, and those are all day tours, so I don't think people will mind going up there. Leavesden, the first film to be shot at Leavesden was actually Goldeneye in 1995, and it was acquired. Yeah, it was acquired by Pinewood. It's to do other productions, so I guess Pinewood owns it right now. But really, it's only been Harry Potter in there. Some Dark Knight stuff was shot in there, as well as Scum 2, which is coming out this year. I've never heard of it.
That sounds nice.
Sleepy Hollow, Mortal Kombat, Star Wars Episode 1.
Mortal Kombat!
Yeah. So it's got some history. And I think that's a great idea.
Choose your destiny.
We talked about that. I remember a long time ago. We were wondering, what would they do with all these sets after they're done filming? And now they can preserve them, which is great.
Preserve them and make even more money off them.
Yeah. Let's get to Muggle Mail now, and then we'll get into chapter by chapter.
Our first email
Go ahead.
comes from Renata. Her name is. She's from Brazil. She's 16 years old. And there was a foreign exchange student in my high school who had the same name, and it's Renata. It's not Renata. Renata, 16, from Brazil, writes, "Hello, MuggleCasters. While reading Half-Blood Prince, I always had the impression that neither Voldemort's mother, Merope... Is it Merope, or is it Merope? Merope. Nor her brother, Morfino, had been to Hogwarts. You think all wizards have to go to magic schools, or they have the option to teach at home? Please give your thoughts on the subject. Thanks for reading my email. Hinata." Now, I think J.K. Rowling's already answered this, and that they do have the option to be homeschooled, don't they? I don't think Hogwarts is mandatory. I mean,
no, it's not, is it? You can't force someone to go to a school. There are always going to be different schools, and also, I guess you don't have to learn to use magic. I mean, it seems to be the way that you get along if you're a wizard or witch, but I'm sure you could just get a job and earn some money and just not use your magic. So,
yeah, but who doesn't want to use their magic? You know what I mean?
Well, true, but if you've been brought up thinking that magic is bad, and then suddenly I've got magic, you could be a wizard-hating wizard, and then you're like, I'm not ever going to learn to use these powers because it will be really, really bad, and yeah, I'm just going to get a job and become think of a job.
But why wouldn't they have gone to Hogwarts, though? I mean, they're part of Slytherin's lineage. You'd think that they would go there.
Yeah, but Micah, if someone came round to your house and said, do you want to come to my wizard school, you'd probably think they were on the sex offender register, wouldn't you?
But, you get a real explanation. I'm sure Harry wasn't, completely... what was Harry thinking when Hagrid busted down their door and, "You're a wizard, Harry," and all
I
that?
think he should have been a bit more, critical and, assuming he didn't even ask for any ID. He didn't ask for anything.
Well, he was young. He didn't know.
Well, I don't think that's any excuse, Andrew.
All right. Speaking of schools, the next email comes from Noah14 of Walsall, Wisconsin. We're all over the map with pronunciations today. Dear MuggleCasters, I love the show, but I've only been listening for a short time, and I don't know if you have already covered this topic. Recently, ABC Family showed Goblet of Fire, and while I was watching, I realized that Hogwarts seemed to have a lower class and underprivileged vibe to it. When Durmstrang enters the Great Hall, they come in with their fire sticks and fur coats and come off as very upper class. Same thing with
Beauxbatons?
Beauxbatons. I forgot how it was. I forgot how it was pronounced.
Wow.
Sorry. They enter with a very professional-looking dance and in neatly pressed uniforms. Then the Hogwarts students sing the unrehearsed and off-key school song directed by their loony headmaster. At this point, Madame Maxime, and Igor Karakov.
Andrew, how are you a radio presenter? How are you so into podcasts when you can't even say words?
Sorry, I don't know wizard names. Scoff and stick their noses in the air. It just seems that the makers of the movie... I haven't read this book in a while, okay? Makers of the movie were trying to make Hogwarts look like the place where the misfits and Weasleys and Weasleys of society went, and the rich and pampered went to either Durmstrang or Beauxbaton. Just want to hear your opinions. Love the show, Noah.
I don't think that's true.
No, I don't think so, Jamie. You're wrong for several reasons. One, I think it has to do with geographical location, because...
I think you're wrong on that, but more on that in a second. Go on.
More on that in a second. No, because there are definitely a lot of people at Hogwarts who are privileged. I don't think people go to Hogwarts because they're poor or it's like the place for the Weasleys. Not to mention that the Triwizard Tournament only occurs once every however long, and I think that the reason they would show up doing all of this song and dance is because it's probably part of some type of, ceremonial aspect, or, they're just trying to make their school look more prominent than these other schools. But I don't think by any means that Hogwarts is on a lower level of, standard.
I'd go a different way for that, and I would say that the key in his letter is loopy headmaster. I think it's just to show that Dumbledore's unorthodox, and he does it his own way, and he succeeds, and he's put his mark on the school. And he's always like, it is your choices, Harry. Go on, Ben, do you want to?
It is our choices.
Wow.
Wow, Dumbledore's dead.
Dumbledore's dead, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so, and he, he's put his mark on it, and that's how he wants people to sort of think that even if the song is weird and off-key, it still brings them together and binds them and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It gives Hogwarts character, too. I mean, you see this school.
Yeah, it does.
And it certainly was interesting to suddenly be exposed to these two new magical schools who were extremely different than Hogwarts. I think, as a first-time reader, you're like, wow, look at this. There's sort of different cultures within the magical community. And we see that between Durmstrang and...
Now, do you think it's a coincidence that, the people from Durmstrang, all seem to have, accents and,
Well, they are from different countries, so...
Yeah, so maybe it's related to geographical.
Oh, definitely.
Location.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Didn't
true.
you say that, Ben, at the beginning?
So I did say that, but Jamie told me he was going to prove me wrong, and then he didn't.
Story of his life.
Story of his life.
Yeah.
All right, Micah, next email?
Next email comes from Jake, 13, of Victoria, Australia, and he says, "Hi guys, I was listening to the latest episode when someone from Australia pointed out that they haven't seen or heard anything about the Ultimate Editions. I was curious and a bit sad myself until I saw them in a shop, Dick Smith, as DVDs, not the Blu-rays though. Anyway, just thought I'd share. Mikey, Andrew, and Laura are the best. Cheers, Jake."
We got a lot of emails about this. We were definitely wrong. They are available in Australia, not England. So.
Oh, Jamie, you can't get the Ultimate Edition. How does it make you feel?
Pretty cut up.
Next email, Ben?
Tony, 29, from Wisconsin.
Oh, sorry, I missed Jamie. Jamie, did you want to read an email?
No, it's fine. Ben started. He can finish.
Okay.
Tony, 29, from Wisconsin. We've got a lot of Wisconsin going on here today. Writes, in episode 187, you were debating the reason Dumbledore hired Lockhart and decided that no other teachers wanted the position and that Dumbledore was taking anyone that wanted it. Instead, do you think it is possible that Dumbledore hired him because he, like all the girls, had a crush on Lockhart? Or more likely, do you think that Dumbledore recognized Lockhart for the liar he was and knew that Lockhart would be exposed as a fraud by being in that position? More or less Dumbledore's way of letting Lockhart expose himself?
I think that's a good point. It's a tough one to know why he would. You wouldn't deliberately hire an incompetent teacher.
Unless he was a piece of eye candy.
Unless he was a piece of eye candy, yeah. And Dumbledore circles.
And I mean, Hermione was pretty clever, and she was fooled by his good looks. Do you think maybe Dumbledore was under the same spell?
But like Dumbledore said, it's very hard to find a defense against dark arts teacher these days. So maybe he was the only one he could find. I think this email's a little more, on the joking side than anything else.
Well, so Dumbledore knew that there was this curse on the position. How does that implicate him morally in making that decision? If he knows that the person who takes on the position is not going to last through the year, and I mean that when they say they're not going to last, I guess that means that just like they're not going to make it through the job, that they're going to get removed from the job somehow. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to die.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how he was able to, rationalize it.
Well, maybe Dumbledore warns them, hey, this job is sort of cursed, as you've probably seen. I mean, people, we can't get someone to stick around for more than a year. I think they may.
He probably just gives them a 1-year contract.
But if you think about it, the reason each one has taken it hasn't, it's all been Lupin took it because he can't really get work anywhere else, and Dumbledore let him do it. Lockhart took it maybe because his ego is so big he thought that he could do it. Moody took it because he's kind of crazy.
What about
Quirrell
Lupin?
Took it I said him because he can't get a job anyway because he's a werewolf.
Sorry.
What about Umbridge?
That's okay.
Well, Umbridge
she's just a
obviously
bitch.
took it because, well, the Ministry made her take it. I think, so that's a good point, Jamie. They all had their own unique motivations.
So you don't think Dumbledore could have a crush on him, though?
No, I think he could. He may have.
You think Dumbledore had a crush on Harry?
Probably.
No. Oh, I don't know. Do we really want to go there?
Why? Why not?
I don't know. I don't think
It's an adult discussion, Andrew. We can go wherever we want.
Yeah.
Harry saw him as Dumbledore saw Harry as a child prodigy, as a friend. Dumbledore, I mean, come on.
What?
Okay, you explain. Go ahead.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Andrew, love knows no bounds.
Isn't age just a number?
It is just a
It's just
number.
a number.
All right, maybe Dumbledore did have a crush on him. How could you? How could you not?
Huh? He is the boy who lived.
Right. Do you think he did? Do you think he did?
I mean, I don't
No.
know. Maybe. Who knows?
Let's ask him.
I know.
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore, did you have a crush on Harry?
Why? Yes, I did.
Oh,
Dumbledore, do you want to explain that a bit more?
No. No comment.
Fair enough. It would
It's private matter, isn't it?
would cause a lot of controversy in the wizarding world. He probably doesn't want to
Yeah.
comment much.
Delusional.
Maybe Rita Skeeter can get on it. Jamie, can you read the next email from Tiffany?
Yep, this is from Tiffany, 15, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh.
This is Pittsburgh. This is kind of a random question, but it's been bugging me for a while. How does Colin Creevey's camera work in Hogwarts? According to Hermione, Muggle electronics don't work within Hogwarts, so how the heck is he taking all those pictures? There are probably a lot of more obvious questions I should be asking you guys, but I'm a bit of an overthinker. Anyway, MuggleCast rocks my socks.
This is where Joe dropped the ball again.
No.
What are you talking about?
Well, think about other real Muggle objects that work in the wizarding
Name
world.
one.
Well, the Ford Anglia is sort of...
Oh, wait a second. It just mean was it enchanted?
okay, so maybe the camera was enchanted.
And that's not electronics either, it's
but the
mechanical,
camera has
whereas
a
the camera's
flash.
electronics.
The camera has a flash. Now, how do throughout? Do we ever see a wizard camera in the books anywhere that takes the pictures that are alive? You know what I'm saying?
Like
is it a special
no.
type of camera?
Surely.
We do in the films. We do in the film, don't we? Doesn't someone? I'm trying to think. I recognise like the memory
press.
of someone taking a the press, taking a photo that went on the Daily Prophet or something like
Yeah,
that.
for Lockhart
So
and
you
Harry.
do kind of
Chamber
see.
of Secrets.
And the start of Half-Blood Prince, when you see the Ministry, the press surrounded Harry and Dumbledore in the Ministry.
There you go.
Next email comes from... Oh, no, you just read an email. My turn. Next email. This is a big one. This is hard to navigate. This next email...
You can't handle it, Ben. That's what he
Yeah,
said.
you can't handle this next email.
Dude, you hardly know how to read.
Dude, that hurts. I'm bummed. This next email comes from Liz of Arizona. Hi guys, love the show, been a listener for years. I have some quick questions. Unfortunately, they have nothing to do with anything you've been talking about recently. However, I have some nagging questions that I thought I would share with you. Okay, here we go. Now, she's asking us 3 questions, so bear with us. Question number 1. Why weren't the Weasleys in the order the first time? We know the Weasleys were not in the order the first time around. I'm assuming it's because at that time they had 6 small children. I can understand that Molly might not want to be in the order, but Arthur? It always puzzled me because they were so involved in the order the second time around. Any theories, guys?
Maybe because they had 6 children, and if Arthur had died, then it would have been one person bringing up 6 children. That's all I can think of, but I don't know.
Well, it must have been hard, just even as 2 people, to raise 6 children full time.
Can I just say, though, witches and wizards complaining about bringing up children? Like, you flick your wand and
The diapers changed.
dinner's ready. Yeah, the diaper's changed. Sorry, I shouldn't say diaper, really. I should say nappy. Nappy's been changed. But, yeah, it's not exactly... I honestly don't get this magic thing. I remember in The Sword in the Stone when Wart's walking with Merlin and he says, now don't you think that magic will solve all your problems? Because it won't, but it just seems like it does.
Yeah.
Well, that's from a Muggle point of view, man. That's like That's like not having an iPhone and thinking that the iPhone is going to solve all your problems. And then when you get the iPhone, it feels like it, is better for a while. Then after a while, you're like, man, you get used to it, and it's just like, it ain't no thing, man.
What are you going to say, Micah?
I don't have anything to say to that. That's a good point.
Oh, no, I was going to say, though, Molly's brothers were both in the Order, so maybe she kind of got a taste for what it was like and didn't want her family to be at risk any more than they already were.
Question 2. What's up with Harry having no grandparents? Lily and James were quite young when they had Harry, about 19, 20 years old. We know at least that Lily's parents were alive when she was 11, and James's parents, I assume, were alive and well into his teens. I assume Lily's were alive, though, her 7th year, just due to logistics. Wouldn't there be another family member there to care for Lily and Petunia if they were underage?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so much concerned about like the grandparents side of things. Like, I mean, I think that it is a bit fishy that there are no grandparents, but I'm thinking like there's not even like a great uncle or a great aunt. Like the grandparents had some type of siblings. Like the chances of that happening, of all of them being dead, seem to be very slim.
I guess it was a little too convenient for the story. It would have been too convenient for the story. Or maybe, I bet Joe has some story made up for the grandparents, why they're not around.
Or she'll make one up.
Yeah. Question number 3. Wouldn't Snape be pissed that Harry named his kid after him? Severus Police. Blah, blah, blah. How PO do you think Snape would be? How PO do you think Snape would be to find out Harry named his kid after him? How his name will forever be next to Potter. Yes, it was a sign of respect on Harry's part, but as Snape was never nice to Harry at all in 7 years, regardless of the love he felt for Harry's mother, I cannot see him being okay with that.
I agree. I think he would be annoyed, but the fact of the matter is he's dead, so Harry's like, this entire feud is over now, and I'm going to sign it by calling my son after you.
Is he turning over in his grave? Is Snape turning over in his grave?
No.
Well, no.
I think Snape likes it. Because Harry's related to Lily, and Snape is in love with Lily. And now Lily's child has
But he was in love
kid.
with Lily Evans, not... Well, I guess he was always in love with her, but I don't know if he... Oh, I don't know. It's a very tough question to answer.
It is. It really is.
It's a good question, that one.
All right, and final email today. Ben, you go ahead.
Stephanie White from Phoenix, Arizona writes, "Hey guys, I just wanted to make a few quick comments. First, in episode 187, when you were discussing the point that Dumbledore can sense where Harry and Ron are, and someone thought it was because Dumbledore can sense the presence of a Hallow, well, even though in episode 189 someone wrote in and said J.K. Rowling said he simply used hominum
revelio.
Dude, this does not even flow at all. Well, even though in episode 189 someone wrote in and said that JKR had said he simply used hominum revelio, I definitely agree with you guys that it would have been much too simple as that. I agree that had that been the case, Snape and many others would have been able to see where they are, and that spell couldn't possibly have worked because the fact that the cloak was a powerful object and no spell could penetrate it. I did want to say, however, that I do not think Dumbledore would have recognized Harry under the cloak because it was a Hallow, but perhaps because of the magic emanating from it. It is known that Book 2 has ties to Book 6, and perhaps the whole magic, especially dark magic, leaves traces theme comes into play here. I thought that Dumbledore may have sensed Harry simply because he is a Horcrux. What do you think?
Okay.
But the Hallows aren't really evil. They're just completely neutral. That's the thing about them. They just do what they do, and you don't really have any like innate evil or goodness about them. Whereas Horcruxes are completely evil. Through and through, whereas Hallows are just what they are. You know, like, you can use the wand to do good, or you can hide under the invisibility cloak to help people, you know. I guess the stone you can't really help people with. Yeah, that just killed my point, sorry.
So Jamie, would you rather brutally murder 3 innocent puppies or make 3 Horcruxes?
Well, surely I'd be making... Oh, so you're saying, would I rather kill 3 people or 3 puppies?
Yes.
Well, like, to be honest, people aren't very nice, whereas puppies just do what they do, so...
They love you unconditionally.
They love you unconditionally, so I guess I'd rather kill 3 horrible, horrible people, but I can't say that in today's world, so I have to say no, for the greater good, utilitarianism and everything, I'd kill the 3 puppies. I'd probably cry.
Would you eat them?
They're not free range meat, are they?
No, I wouldn't eat them then. I wouldn't eat them unless they're raised fairly and nicely. Then I wouldn't touch them. No. I would still give them a proper burial.
Okay, so that's all for the book of emails that we had this week. Now it's time for chapter by chapter. Like I said, we're starting off with chapters 1 through 3 of Prisoner of Azkaban.
What a book this was, folks! What a book!
It was quite a book. And Micah's going to go through lead the discussion on the first chapter, and then I got the last 2.
All right.
Chapters 2 and 3.
Why do you get 2? I don't get that. Why do you get 2
you would have been
chapters?
more than welcome to have done one. That's what I thought.
What do you mean do one? I could do one right now. I could do it on the fly and do it better than you ever could.
Come on, let's go. It's 50 minutes
that's
into
a
the
challenge
show.
there.
That is a challenge.
All right. Great. Save it for next time.
So the story opens up with Harry, of course, being locked up in his room, and it seems like he's doing a fair bit of work over the summer. He's stolen the little bits of and pieces that he needs in order to get some work done from the cabinet or the closet that's under the stairs. And I wanted to know, Jamie, is it traditional to have this much homework in the UK over the summer in between school years?
I don't know. It depends really what school you go to. Like, not enough that he's, having to do it by, candlelight or whatever it was he does it by. I mean, I guess he has to do it by that because of who he lives with, but I don't know. I'm trying to think back to how much work God, it seems like so long ago now.
Well, you didn't do any of it, so...
Well, it didn't make any difference then. I don't know, I guess so. Some schools set a load, some don't set that much.
Do you think plagiarism is a problem in the wizarding world?
No. When you can just point your wand at something, copy it, paste it, then do a charm on someone's mind so they forget about it. You could copy anything. I could be the author of the Bible, or Shakespeare, or anything, just by casting a few simple charms.
All right, onward, Micah.
So, I talked a little bit about Harry had to go downstairs and kind of steal some of his stuff back. And I want to know, why is it the Dursleys are so insistent on making it seem like Harry doesn't exist? They hide his spellbooks, his broom, his cauldron, every little thing that they can except for Hedwig. And they ensure that he doesn't speak at all with the neighbors. Now, to me, this would seem suspicious if you were a neighbor of the Dursleys. So are their actions... doing more harm than good?
But I think that's a really interesting point, but that completely goes in with what people have done throughout history. Like, if they just accept it and just say, just be normal and just don't mention your magic. But it's like people always try and suppress the things they don't like, and then the people just rise up and are really, really mean to them. It's like, I think when robots come out, get created, like intelligent ones, humans will be like, oh, no, we have to control them and enslave them because otherwise they'll rise up against us and force them to work. And then the robots will be like, well, hold on a minute, we're 10 times as powerful and we're just going to kill everyone. But if you treat the robots well and say, please, could you work for us because, you don't get tired and we do, and you treat them as human beings, basically, then they probably won't rise up. Sorry to go off on a tangent.
Well, I think it just really bothers the Dursleys a lot to see anything to do with magic, and they dread, when they know Harry's about to come home for the summer, and then he comes home and they're like, oh, it's that magic, and they're freaked out because with every year he's spending at Hogwarts, he's learning more and more magic, so he's probably weirder and weirder in their minds. And I think they're just paranoid that magic could backfire on them, or Harry would do a spell on them, something like that.
Off Dudley's pigtail as well.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the next point about the telephone incident is pretty much more of the same. His uncle goes absolutely crazy when Ron calls. And he really treats Harry like, why would you give this number out to anybody? But what does Vernon Dursley think could possibly happen as the result of Ron having Harry's phone number?
Well, again, I mean, Ron calls him, and all of a sudden he hears, "Hi, how are you? Can I speak to to Harry, please?" And like Ron obviously doesn't know how to use the phone,
Right?
And so Vernon just gets really annoyed by that, and I kind of think I understand that.
You do.
If someone I don't like, his friend is calling me, you know what I'm saying? If I was in Vernon's position, I think that would be annoying.
Yeah. Well, Harry also makes a note of the fact that if Hermione had called, it would have been a little bit different. That he thinks that she would have been able to not mention all the stuff related to Hogwarts, which I thought was a little bit of a knock on Ron. Like, not that he's stupid, but just that he's not very shrewd.
Yeah. All right.
So Harry ends up getting his first birthday card and a present from Ron, who is off vacationing in Egypt. Now, a lot of people sent this in. It wasn't my own original thought, but what is up with this quote-unquote poor Weasley family spending money on a vacation? Aren't there better uses for their money?
That they won.
Yeah, they won the money. Yeah. So
that they won the money and they're poor and they decide to waste it on a vacation. That's silly.
It's the call of freedom, isn't it? It's like, oh my god, we have all this money. What are we going to do? Oh, let's treat ourselves because we haven't had all this money for so long. So let's.
And Ron does tell Harry in the letter that most of the money is going to the trip, but they're going to buy Ron a new wand for next year.
Well, couldn't they,
invest it?
Food.
Yeah, invest it, or I don't know. I mean, that is a typical thing, as Jamie was saying, among like poor families. To like when you get a lot of money, it's like you've never had that much money to begin with, so there's a tendency to mismanage it, I would say.
Yeah, and now I really don't have any sympathy for the Weasleys anymore. Like, they clearly don't know how to manage their money. This is a good example of that. So
I can understand wanting to take a vacation.
With them.
I mean, that's all well and good, but the J.K. Rowling makes a point of how poor they are in every single book.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she does. Andrew, you should probably have a bit of sympathy with them, considering half of them are dead now.
No, what I meant was I have no sympathy for them being poor. Because they clearly don't manage their money.
What if they got an awesome deal? Like, what if a trip to Egypt usually costs like
50 million gallons?
Four times what they paid for it.
Yeah,
because it's still a waste. Because if you invested it, you could maybe get.
Yeah, but Andrew, what happens if a trip to Egypt normally costs 1 billion gallons and they got it for 700?
Well, Egypt is
a sure thing, Andrew. An investment, you don't know when that's going to pan out or if it's going to pan out.
Yeah, that's
a trip to Egypt is a sure thing. It's guaranteed.
That's fine. But when you continue reading this book and books after it and hear, oh, we're so poor, we can't afford anything, just think back to the Egypt trip.
Yes.
Tripped.
I know, because then they could have like 10 more waffles.
Yes, that 700 would go. Anyway, onward.
Harry gets a pocket sneakoscope from Ron, which Ron tells him is supposed to be used to catch untrustworthy people, and he claims that it went wild at dinner with the Weasleys, and Ron thinks it's because Fred and George played a prank on Bill and put beetles in his soup, but it's really because his pet rat Scabbers is not who he appears to be. And one thing I wanted to point out about this picture, though, is that if they don't go to Egypt, the picture's never taken and Sirius never sees.
Yeah, so that's probably why they spent their monty on Egypt trip, and now Andrew hates them for it.
Absolutely.
When it was hit.
And
the plot, it had to happen for the plot.
Yeah, but Percy, Harry notes that Percy looks smug in the picture, and I'm wondering if that's a little bit of foreshadowing of things to come, because why would he look smug? Does he realize he has a plan to go against his family?
He always looks smug.
Yeah.
He is a smug, he is. He's pompous anyway, perhaps.
All right, maybe it's all foreshadowing.
Maybe everything's foreshadowing.
Well, he looks that way because he's been made head boy, right?
Oh, I guess so. Okay.
But no, it could be foreshadowing. All right, so he gets a broom servicing kit from Hermione, and he always seems to be overly surprised by what Hermione gives him. It just seems to be that way throughout the book. She always gives him some cool gifts. And then Hagrid ends up giving him the Monster Book of Monsters, which he says will come in useful in his 3rd year. And we all know later on that it does come in useful. And then Harry, in addition, gets a letter from Hogwarts, and he's faced with the problem of needing a parent or guardian's signature in order to visit Hogsmeade in his 3rd year.
I know this is morally wrong, but I always thought that Harry should have just forged the signature.
Maybe they can test against it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would do. Like in school, they would always try to make you have a permission slip to watch a movie that was
inappropriate,
or something like that. And the teacher would pass out the permission slips, and I just give it right back to him.
Yeah. How'd you get this sign so fast? Oh, my mom was outside in the hall.
I was going to ask with the Monster Book of Monsters. You guys think that's just another example of Hagrid not realizing when things are actually dangerous?
Hey, while I'm thinking about it, while I'm thinking about Ben and his impressions, it's Warwick Davis's birthday today, Ben.
Oh, come on, Ben, yeah.
Warwick Davis.
Can you do a big one for his birthday, please?
Yeah, go on, Ben. Do a huge one.
Davis. Whoa. Oh, my.
Hey, Ben.
Hurt.
Take it 10 stages further. 10 stages further.
Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis.
Thank you. Still don't know how that came about. It's obviously not an impression of Warwick Davis, but
whether the aforementioned activity really did happen.
Okay, so chapter 2, Aunt Marge's big mistake. We're introduced to a really cool character. Well, not cool, but interesting character. Aunt Marge.
On Trunchbull. Sorry, not on Trunchbull. What am I talking? Oh, yeah. Sorry, go on.
We'll get to her in a minute, but first, the chapter starts with our first mention of Sirius Black through a report Harry sees on the TV. And Uncle Vernon, in his typical judgmental attitude, judges Sirius as being simply no good just because he looks filthy. There's a picture of Sirius on the screen.
Oh, wait. When they're like, fugitive, man on the run, need to capture this guy. You don't think that had anything to do with his judgment?
Well, no, because Uncle Vernon says, no need to tell us he's no good. Look at the state of him, the filthy layabout. Look at his hair. So Uncle Vernon is saying,
well, if you've been in prison for 13 years, don't you think you would look a little
You're going to be
grubby?
wearing a suit,
Grubby.
yeah.
Okay, and related to this, we have a Twitter question sent in by Luisa Luca. When you first read it, did you remember Hagrid's mention of Sirius in Sorcerer's Stone? No.
When he borrowed his motorbike. That one.
Did anyone remember that? Micah, did you?
Probably not when I read it the first time.
Yeah. Good point, though.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, me neither.
So we learned that Aunt Marge is visiting the Dursleys for a week, and Harry must act like a muggle or else Vernon will not sign this Hogsmeade permissions form. So, it's a little game, and now Harry's like, oh, I can handle this. It'll be hard, but I can do it. And Harry recounts all the times that Aunt Marge has come over and been a real annoyance to him. Then, so Aunt Marge arrives, and she comes out swinging at Harry. She tells him she would have sent him straight to an orphanage if he was dropped on her doorstep. Which, the Dursleys, nothing but judgmental attitudes through all of them. Would she have really taken Harry straight to an orphanage if he was dropped on her doorstep? Because she doesn't even know that Harry is a wizard, which is the prime reason that Vernon and Petunia don't like him. So what do you think gives here? I mean, is Petunia that mean? If any little baby showed up on her doorstep?
I think she's being a bit
coming up. They say that the father was a drunk. Like the family was worthless. So
yeah.
From her perspective, if you come from trash, you are trash. So she would more than likely would have just gotten rid of him.
Yeah.
Which is not very nice.
But she doesn't know anything about Harry. That's what I'm saying. And, that she would have, well, whatever.
Yeah, but she's judging it based off of what Ben just said, off of what Petunia and Vernon have told her about Harry's parents, which is complete, BS anyway.
The wrong way to do it.
But why? Yeah. Why? That's the question. I mean, when push comes to shove, Petunia is still Lily's sister, so you got to wonder why she's made up all this crap about, her family.
Just mean. Just bad romance going on there. So Aunt Marge continues her berating of Harry and finally pushes him over the limit when she says, quote, if there's something wrong with the bitch, there'll be something wrong with the pup. And Marge's wine glass suddenly explodes, and she believes it was her own fault, but Harry, Vernon, and Petunia know it was Harry's. Harry loses his temper and then can do magic without even really intentionally doing it. So this brings up an interesting question. Why was this not more of a warning sign to Vernon? We know that Marge likes to berate Harry, but why can't Vernon be the smart one here and say, Harry, all right, you obviously can't control yourself. Go up in the room, stay there, so to prevent any further problems. Why would Vernon not, do anything about this?
I don't know. It would make sense, and I don't know that Vernon always makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
You'd think that's what he would do. He would say, stay up here, boy, but wouldn't Marge ask questions? Wouldn't she say, where is he?
I guess so. But he could make excuses like he does for everything else about him.
And maybe he likes that Marge has a go at Harry all the time. Maybe he enjoys it.
He gets to watch. Yeah, it's entertaining. But this should have been a warning. That's my point. He should have kept Harry in his room from there on out. Because she could have exploded next, which she sort of did. Another Twitter question at this point, sent in from Bailey Michelle. When Aunt Marge comes to Privet Drive, why doesn't Harry just try to stay as far away as possible from her? So this is basically what we were just asking. But I think Harry can't. Harry was told by the Dursleys, stay there, stay here, let Aunt Marge berate you, because that's how she validates herself in life. So on the final evening of Marge's visit, she is again insulting Harry and his family, and Harry can't take it. And his anger leads him to unintentionally make Marge swell up to the point of where she's floating in the air. And this, of course, causes havoc in the Dursley home, and Harry makes a run for it. And this leads us into Chapter 3, The Night Bus.
Well, I think it's funny, though, to wrap up that chapter, how she makes him blow up, so he makes her blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of karma, complete karma. But also, I think it sort of sets Harry's mood for the entire series, or his stubbornness and anger, and his anger is always quick to below the surface, and he can't take stuff when he stands up for what he believes in. He can't just accept stuff blindly.
Yeah.
So it's quite a good scene, apart from the fact that it leads perfectly into him getting the night bus.
So Chapter 3, The Night Bus, the chapter begins with Harry ending his run. He's sort of out of breath and tired. He realizes he's in a really bad position at this point. He's got no place to go. He's got no money. And he's likely expelled from Hogwarts for using magic outside of school again. So he starts plotting ways to get to Hogwarts. But then all of a sudden he's disrupted. He senses that somebody's... What exactly happens? He sort of senses that somebody's watching him or something?
Yeah, his hairs prickle up, don't they? And then he's like this... He realizes that there's someone or something watching him, sees it, and then the night bus comes up.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's a weird causation there, because it's like he trips over, which signals the night bus, and if he hadn't tripped over, it wouldn't have come or something. I don't know. It's a weird scene, that bit.
Yeah. So, and this is also, as we know, Harry thinks he saw a dog, and as we find out later, or we can kind of gather, he saw Sirius. And I'm wondering, if the night bus hadn't appeared just a moment later, would Sirius have transformed into himself and spoken with him? Or was Sirius sort of just trying to keep a careful eye on him? What would Sirius have done? Would he have killed him?
Obviously not.
I'm eating. But I think, doesn't he say later on he just wanted to catch a glimpse of him? And so he probably might not have done anything. He might have just run away.
Yeah. I think more than anything, he was just looking out for him.
Right.
Yeah.
And would have stepped in.
He just wanted to see him.
Yeah. So as luck would have it, the night bus appears just as Harry focuses in on this dog. And it turns out this bus is for witches and wizards exactly in Harry's situation. Stranded. So through the Daily Prophet, so Harry gets on the Daily Prophet, meets Stan and the driver, and he gets a hold of a copy of the Daily Prophet, and Harry learns a little more about Sirius Black and his alleged attack on 13 people 12 years ago. And then the night bus finally arrives at the Leaky Cauldron after dropping a bunch of people off, blah, 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 blah. So then Fudge explains... So they get to the Leaky Cauldron, and Fudge is there, waiting for Harry. And he grabs him by the shoulder, gets a tight grip on him to make sure Harry maybe doesn't run away or whatever. And Fudge explains how the Ministry cleaned up Harry's accident with Marge. And Fudge doesn't berate Harry at all. and is actually quite nice to him. He's treating him nicely, which is completely different from how we see Fudge treat Harry later on in the books and the Ministry as a whole. And Harry picks up on this, how nice the Ministry is and Fudge, and he's, it's okay, it's fine, everything's fixed. He senses that something is going on behind his back, Harry does. Micah, why do you think Fudge is acting this way?
Because he realizes that quite possibly the biggest criminal ever under his watch has now broken out of prison, and Harry's in danger. And I don't think Harry knows, or he doesn't think that Harry knows that he's in danger, and he's doing everything possible to keep Harry safe.
But it's kind of
yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's kind of like ridiculous that he would even think about disciplining him, because I don't know, it just seems to me it's like telling someone who is like, I don't know, I can't think of a direct example, but I guess like a swimmer who hasn't broken their personal best, telling them off for not doing it when they can't control themselves yet. It's like you can't tell someone off when he can't control his magic. The school has to teach him better. Then if anger does that, then it's a fault with what he knows rather than him. I don't think he's been naughty. I think it would be a bit harsh to say, you've been bad, you've been a bad boy.
Yeah, I think it's about Fudge, though, acting in his best interest, and that's all Fudge has ever done. In this case, his best interest is protecting Harry. In Order of the Phoenix, it's protecting himself and the Ministry. And, that's his character. I mean, he does... he's kind of overwhelmed by the power of it all and doing what's best for his image.
Yeah, that's true.
And what's best for his image right now is to protect Harry from who they think is from who's Lord Voldemort's greatest supporter, supposedly.
Reading back on the series, it is very interesting to see Fudge acting like this. I was taken aback. I was like, what? So Fudge leaves Harry at the Leaky Cauldron, where he'll have a room to stay in, which is very nice. And Fudge encourages him to go nowhere outside of Diagon Alley. So just stay there, you'll be safe, blah, blah, blah.
You think he's being watched in Diagon Alley? Like,
He must be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to...
There has to be some type of protection.
To Order of the Phoenix. Like, he never knew that Mrs. Figg was watching him and Mundungus Fletcher. But I wonder if he's got people watching him during Prisoner of Azkaban.
I bet so. So that does it for the three, for talking about the three chapters themselves. Pretty, basic chapters, not too much to discuss. It'll get deeper as we go along. But a couple movie comparisons we found. The Monster Book of Monsters isn't a gift from Hagrid in the movie. He gets it while staying at the Three Broomsticks.
Oh, that's my mistake. It's the Leaky Cauldron, not the Three Broomsticks.
At the Leaky Cauldron. Micah, Jesus. Another comparison, Harry learns about Sirius while on the night bus from Stan, not from the news, like he does in the book. And also in the movie, Harry doesn't learn Neville's name on the night bus as he does in the book. I'm pretty sure in the movie, right? He's just like, they know he's Harry Potter.
Well, they don't know. Stan asks him his name, and he's like, I didn't get your name, or something along the lines, and Harry says, I never gave it to you, or something. And then Stan realizes once he drops Harry off.
Oh, okay.
That it was Harry. But, I thought that was one of the more simple things they could have kept, to keep it consistent with the books, that he gives Neville's name on the night bus.
Yeah, it would have been funny. So, like I said, that does it for Chapter by Chapter this week. For episode 192, our next episode, please send in your feedback about chapters 4 through 6, and you can do that by going to MuggleCast.com and clicking on Contact, and you can fill out the feedback form. All right, and just a final email about this chapter. Kyle31 of Knoxville, Tennessee, brings up a couple points. Is September 1st a Sunday and the 2nd a Monday every school year? Term always starts on September 1st with a feast, followed by the Monday of the first day of classes. It's a good point. Maybe in the Wizarding world, the days don't change. The calendars don't change.
That is an interesting point.
That's a book mistake.
Wow, that must be a book mistake, yeah.
And also from Kyle, interesting foreshadowing by Uncle Vernon when he feared Sirius Black would be walking up the street several days before Sirius really
that
did come to the street.
That is quite interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't ever think about that.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing. If you just read every book thinking everything's foreshadowing, then you can pretty much predict the plot.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah, you can.
Why didn't we just do that?
I don't know. We should have. What were we thinking? We were inexperienced back then.
Next time, my friends, next time.
All right, to wrap up the show today, we're going to talk about an email we received about J.K. Rowling, and it's negative. It's very negative. It's interesting. It's from Anna Park, 18 of Ohio. She writes, "Hello, I've been listening to your show since it began, and I'm afraid I have to disagree, possibly violently, with Andrew's declaration that the intricate plotting of the Harry Potter series is proof that it transcends children's literature and is a work of depth and meaning. While I won't deny that J.K. Rowling is an engaging storyteller, she has done no more with her story than generations of Dungeons & Dragons game masters, who are capable of exactly the same level of writing, have done with theirs. The only difference is that Miss Rowling, being at liberty to publish her work, has made a metric trainload of money. If you look at the Harry Potter series, it's really just an amalgam of cliches and forced symbolism, starring a hero whose genericness goes beyond acceptable limits and a villain who, quite honestly, seems to have attended the Snidely Whiplash School of Villainy. It is this particular point that irks me most. How the whole wizarding world came to fear Voldemort is anyone's guess, when all he does is stand around and talk, occasionally killing someone or ordering his band of criminally inept Death Eaters to bungle something."
Excuse me. That's like saying all Hitler did was stand around and talk.
Can I just say, I completely agree with you, Ben, on this point. Like, the whole people are terrified of stuff they don't know about. Like, you know, if the person who wrote this, I think if you read any type of literature from the Nazi era or Mussolini or any type of dictatorship now, you realise that it's living in fear, which is the thing that does people in. It hasn't got anything to do with what happens in public. It's being terrified that your neighbour will tell on you and you'll come back and see the dark mark, you know, which is obviously the wizard analogy, over your door. It's the politics of fear. That's why Voldemort's a perfect villain. Not perfect in the literary sense. I agree that there are better written villains, but he's by no means like a bad villain just because of the way he talks when she's writing for a particular audience.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Continue, Andrew.
You'd think someone could just sneak up on him during one of his monologues and take him out, if they weren't all cowering in their homes, fearing what the author had told them about him instead of what he had actually done. If Voldemort was any sort of villain, he wouldn't have gone down so easily over several points in the series to children. Now, would I rather my own children, should I have any, read Harry Potter than most of the other trash about teen angst and relationships that might be available to them? Of course. But would I hold it up as an example of solid literature, one that deserves to have college courses based on it? Of course not. Twists, turns, and foreshadowing in the plot are not deep thinking or profound analysis of the human condition. They are merely signs of clever writing, something you can find in many video games. Although I would argue that there are video games with more depth to them than Harry Potter. While Harry Potter is, due to its gripping story and wide cast of likable side characters, certainly an enjoyable read, it does not deserve to be hailed as anything more than a staggeringly popular book for children.
Wow.
Wow.
Can I ask a question, though? I mean, she says twists, turns, and foreshadowing the plot are not deep thinking or profound analysis of the human condition. Yet, all we do is analysis, and you listen to the show.
Yeah,
so aren't you kind
of
contradicting yourself?
Well, maybe we're not analyzing.
She's taking a shot at us then. That any if the series itself isn't deep, then any analysis we do couldn't be deep either.
I think she brings up, like, it is a valid point, but I think, like, you know, like, it's not the best, like, you know, literary stuff ever, but as she says, it is an engaging book. But, like, her being at liberty to publish her work is all very good now, but, you know, any writer knows how hard it is to get anything out of the door with, like, 25 rejection letters. So the fact that it's achieved commercial success means it's achieved a standard that is, you know, obviously deserves recognition. So,
well, I think that's one of the biggest issues with people recognizing the Harry Potter series as what I believe to be the remarkable, well-written book series that it is. It's become so popular, people just think it's popular because it's popular. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just the thing. It's just what's in. But people don't realize, people who haven't read the books don't realize how great the stories are.
No, but
you know
it is a black swan. Like, she brings up do you guys know the black swan thing? I was reading about it. Yeah, like, it is a black swan because there are books like it that haven't got as popular, and it has just got extremely popular, whether that's down to the great writing, which some people would argue, or the fact that it just appeals to children. no one ever knows. You know, it's like Hemingway didn't get popular when he was still alive, but after he died, he got extremely popular. So genius is completely dependent on the culture around you. I think, like...
Well, I don't think popularity determines genius.
No, it doesn't. No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, to a reader now, James Joyce is not going to be a particularly good read, I don't think. I personally wouldn't choose to read it. I don't doubt he's a genius for writing, what he did, or Tolstoy, or something like that. But I think if I was going to write a book that I wanted to get published now, I wouldn't go that, 10,000 page thing. You have to go for something snappy. You have to go for something readable with today's like fast-paced society, and that's a lot harder than writing epic novels. And like what she has done, which is create 7 books, is genius, because you ask any author how hard it is to get that amount of money pumped into you. It's damn hard. I think she has to be commended on that, but I do agree that some of the twists and turns are written for children and will always be written for children.
I agree with that. I agree. But there is something about the Harry Potter series, and maybe we could talk about this more next week. I'm sure we'll get some feedback about this. That really is incredible. And I think, like Anna says in her email, the characters are fantastic. The plot is fantastic. And there are some deeper... there's a lot of deeper meanings to a lot of the things we see in the books, in terms of love. The Horcrux stuff I thought was pretty deep.
I would like to see a... when she says forced symbolism, I'd like to hear like her justification, like her explanation of what's like unforced symbolism,
Yeah.
Because I think I like Andrew, like you were saying, I think there are a lot of deeper points to this, and like the whole idea of overcoming death and all of those things, like that's not forced in my opinion.
Yeah.
Symbolism is like very basic and primal as well. You don't really get new ways of saying symbolism. You don't really get new symbolism.
Maybe we just do such a good job of explaining the symbolism on the show that it looks forced, but really, we're just genius. I'm kidding. So, yeah, send in your feedback about this email. Anna, feel free to send in more. And we have your IP address, so we'll know if it's not actually you. So nobody's sending fake emails. But we do look forward to seeing what people think about this. Certainly an interesting point to discuss. And listen, we're not going to be, we love the Harry Potter series, but we certainly entertain people writing in and looking for, giving...
dissenting opinions.
Thank you. Okay, so a couple announcements before we wrap up the show today. Don't forget to vote for us on Podcast Alley. We ask you all the time, and this episode is no different. And
it's a new month.
FuggleCast February.
What?
No, MuggleCast Mebuary. It's actually funnier if we change the letter of MuggleCast, so FuggleCast February. Start doing that instead. And also a reminder, we will be at infinitus2010.org. They've actually recently...
We're going to be at the website?
Well, actually, Ben, I guess you asked me earlier if we're doing a podcast, and I said we can't confirm or deny at this time, but actually we can, because they put up a rough schedule of events. They put up a preliminary schedule, and we're currently scheduled to have a MuggleCast podcast on Friday, July 16th at 5:30 p.m. So, yes, we will be at Infinitus. We will be doing a podcast. We encourage you all to come. It will be in Orlando, Florida from July 15th to the 18th in the resort, in the Universal Orlando Resort, which is where the Wizarding World of Harry Potter theme park is. We'll all be going over together to ride the rides together. We'll be having a great time. We'll be doing panels and hanging out with everyone. Oh, such a good time.
How much time are you thinking? How many days? Are you going to go to Wizarding World multiple days?
Maybe... At least 2.
At least 2. Now, could you see yourself spending all day, every day, 10 hours a day there?
No.
Would that be weird?
Yeah, because there's only 3 rides. So.
Oh, really? Man,
there's 3
how
rides.
long those lines are.
I know, it's going to be long lines. There's going to be long waits.
Yeah, we'll be waiting forever.
There'll be 3 rides, a few shops, and I think 1 restaurant. And, I bet they'll have other little things going on in there.
Now, is the butterbeer going to have any alcohol in it?
No.
What?
No.
Ben, you can top it up with Jaeger. have a Jaeger butterbeer. Go on, that'd be insane.
Only if you're 21. So again, infinitus2010.org. Register. We'll see you there. It'll be an amazing time. People have been there, these Harry Potter cons before. Everybody loves them. They're a lot of fun. we should talk about it more in depth, maybe on an upcoming episode. Okay, so before we let everyone go, we want to remind you that MuggleCast.com is the site where you can get all your information you need pertaining to the site. Just don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/MuggleCast.
Or twitter.com/BenShane.
Or twitter.com/LawrenceJamie.
Or facebook.com/MuggleCast. And you can also visit the MuggleCast website to write an email to us, which we love. We love to hear from you. Just go to MuggleCast and click on Contact at the top.
Better be good, though. Make it good.
So that does it for the show this week. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. I'm Andrew Sims.
I'm Ben Shane.
I am Jamie Lawrence.
And I am Micah Tannenbaum.
We'll see you next time for episode 192. Bye.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 190. What? Wait, no. Is this 190 or 191, Micah?
Is this 200?
No. No.
It's 191,
isn't it?
You made the Haiti.
The Haiti show was 190. Oh, I see.
Try again.
Isn't she Costa Rica? Why do you say Costa Rica? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's obviously Costa Rica.
Do you really say Costa?
No, I don't say Casta. I say Costa.
Costa.
Yeah, there you go, Ben. That's perfect. Try it again.
Costa.
There you-
This is exactly what I was talking about.
Perfect.